this is Brian.
And this is Stephanie.
Welcome to the making and the remaking of a codependent mind.
We're on the last chapter of the book, Me, You, and Us, chapter 14, Gratitude. I do want to remind people that after this chapter's been up a couple of weeks, we're going to be taking chapters 2 through 13 down from the podcast. At that point, it won't be available on the podcast for free anymore. How were you feeling as you listened to that last chapter?
I just can't listen to that wrap up without tearing up. I feel it every time I read it or hear it. I feel exactly the words that we put down in there. And I still feel that gratitude. And I feel grateful about a whole bunch of things related to this podcast that we've been doing, the books that we wrote, the experience from all of this.
So many experiences we've had over the past 3.5 years.
Yeah.
It's been 3.5 years since we started
years.
the podcast. It's gone so quickly. But it's gone so quickly, but it's also been such a rich, full time in both of our lives. So much understanding and growth, individually and as a couple.
Yeah, we just kept coming up with new angles of looking at the same stuff. And it was always proved to be incredibly useful.
There'd be various points where, one or both of us would say, okay, I think we're done. Like, I think, we've said what we need to say. We've had the discussions that we wanted to have. And then, we open another door.
Yeah.
There's a lot more there. And so one thing that I'm deeply grateful for is the way that you have just really laid yourself bare and let us, the two of us, pick over all the various painful parts of your life and just the courage that you've shown and the openness that you've shown. I mean, it's not like I don't or didn't have stuff to, process or understand, but I had less. Your life has just been such this rich vein, and you've been so generous in sharing that with me and just having these conversations over and over and over again. And it's just been, just intellectually rewarding and emotionally rewarding. And it's just been a real gift to me in my life.
And for us, I mean, I just, the strengthening that it has given to our relationship and just, an endless supply of things to talk about.
Yes.
And for me, not only have I learned all these things, no matter how painful the stuff that we've talked about is, when we get to an end of a conversation, and there's been things even up till recently that have been very painful and difficult for us to navigate through, when we resolve it, I feel like it's very clear these days, it has been for a while now, but that when we actually have resolved something between us, by the way we wrap it up and we discuss afterwards and just like, okay, we understand, just like we see eye to eye on this. And then I have yet another thing that I've managed to survive. Another moment of shame often is usually what it is. Another moment of shame that I've survived. And that just gives me that much more confidence that I can continue to.
Yeah, it's almost like you started off having to walk a 3K and now you're running marathons. Right?
Yeah, right.
That said, we are kind of at a point with the podcast that we are going to step down a little bit. Not because we don't think that there's anything else to talk about. There's endless, as we're just describing, there's seemingly endless amounts of things that we can talk about to learn more about each other and ourselves. But we're pivoting somewhat to doing more writing.
Yeah, and so this time, actually, we've been working on a handful of months now, a fiction book together. So we wrote the first 2 books, even though it has my name on it. They were completely written together, the two of us. And this is also a co-writing project, but it's fiction, and it's been yet another angle. Amazingly, I just when I think that, okay, cool, well, now we're just gonna kind of put what we know to work. No, this has been, again, layers, and sometimes really painful layers, because I found myself going into moments that even throughout this podcast and the other books, I just did not go into that level of detail, kind of day by day type stuff from my past, from those previous relationships that we talked so much about.
Because it's built around a story that comes from your past, a fictionalized version.
Yes, it's a fictionalized character. It's in third person, but it's based on stories that have happened to me and my general personality. So it'll sound familiar. A lot of it will sound familiar.
So we would like to focus more on that, which just means we will not be doing bi-weekly episodes. We still want, though, to continue to have the podcast conversation, but it will be more when we feel we have the time, one, and then also something compelling that we want to talk about, then we'll do we'll drop an episode. If you want kind of a heads up on when those episodes are coming, or if you want to hear from us in other ways, maybe updates on this book that we're writing together, you can go to our website, codependentmind.com, and sign up for our newsletter. You can also send us email from that site, which people have done, and we always enjoy hearing from people.
So, for example, we do have at least a few ideas for some upcoming episodes, but the next one that we will do at some point over the course of the next month or something is going to be a more in-depth look at rewriting stories. We had maybe a couple episodes on, maybe just one, I don't know. But we also talked about it. There's a whole chapter in the first book about it. It's just a really important element that we've just been finding in the course of doing this fiction book. It's like, here's another way to rewrite stories, because we're trying to, like, does this make sense for this character to do X? Well, that's what I did. Wait, did I? Oh, actually.
Or if you did do it, why did it make sense to you? Like, well, and really this whole podcast and both the books and this new book are all about rewriting your story. But it's really tricky. And so, like we're saying, we're 3.5 years in, and many of these incidences or episodes in your life we have talked about at great length, but there's still ways to make them more accurate and more expressive of the truth and your authentic experience. So we want to do an episode where we kind of do more of the nitty-gritty, even more of the nitty-gritty. Like, how do you do that? Like, what are the writing challenges that you run up against? How did we overcome those writing challenges?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that discussion, because this is something that I continue to find important. I'm still finding and rewriting stories of my life, and every time I learn something new about myself.
And with that, here's Brian.
Chapter 14, Gratitude. Let's bring things full circle and remember why I began this relationship work in the first place. I do it because I want to love and be loved, to be seen and understood, to have purpose, to feel desire and passion for life and for the people in it. I do the work because I want to, because I choose to. To say it feels good is an understatement. Being in a relationship where I feel connected, seen, understood, and proud, where I can be myself and trust my partner to do the same, feels nothing short of amazing. That doesn't mean the goal is to feel good every minute of every day or to avoid pain altogether. Painful emotions are inevitable, even in the healthiest of relationships. All of our emotions are important, valuable signals, even the painful ones. We listen to them, receive them, interpret them, and move forward with greater understanding and clarity. If we want to be present for pleasure, we also have to make space for pain. That said, our relationships on the whole should feel good. They should offer connection, joy, and meaning more often than they bring distress. And when we're truly present, we'll be able to recognize what's in front of us and whether or not we're having the kind of experience we want with another person. We've talked about the ways we can tell if each of the relationship tools is being used productively or destructively by focusing on the outcome. Are we achieving the understanding we need? Does the partnership feel strong? Do we feel connected? And if so, there are natural emotional rewards that come with that, providing us with additional feedback. Evidence that we're doing the right work, with the right people, for the right reasons. There's one particular emotion that does an especially good job of providing this type of feedback: gratitude. Tuning into that feeling when it comes, leaning into it, acknowledging it, and openly expressing it can be a useful relationship tool. As I've explored in earlier chapters, emotions themselves are signals, neither good nor bad, just information that can help me better understand myself and my world. For much of my life, I got that process backwards. I took cues from the outside world, what others thought I should feel, and tried to conform my emotional experience to match. That only led to confusion, disconnection, and shame. But when I began using my emotions as a starting point, rather than something to justify or override, everything changed. Gratitude, like all feelings, has to begin from that honest place. It can't be forced or performed. Gratitude may not bring about dramatic change in relationships. It's more of a tool of finesse. It's not going to pull a couple out of conflict or repair a breach of trust, for example. And like the other tools we've looked at, even though gratitude feels good, it can also be used in counterproductive or even destructive ways. I have plenty of personal experience with that. As with tools, it's best to avoid thinking of our emotions as good or bad, and instead look at their functionality. What effect do they have in the world? Painful and pleasurable emotions alike can serve useful functions. Anger, for example, can motivate us to take action against injustice. Gratitude, as a pleasurable emotion, feels good, but that doesn't make it morally superior to anger. Similar to honesty and empathy, people often moralize gratitude, turning it into an obligation. I remember well the messages I heard throughout childhood, messages meant to shame people into feeling gratitude. You should be grateful that you have food to eat. There are starving children in Africa. You should be grateful you have a roof over your head. Be grateful Jesus died for your sins. Sure, it's a good practice to feel and acknowledge gratitude or to appreciate what others do for us. But being told what to feel isn't the way to go about it. No one gets to tell us what to feel. Reducing gratitude, which is an emotion and not an obligation, to a performance misses the point entirely. When I forced myself to eat my peas as a child, it wasn't because I was moved by the idea of starving children. It was because I came to believe that performing was necessary. I was performing feelings, not actually feeling them. I can remember many times throughout my life when I was told to perform acts of gratitude, as if those acts were the same as the emotion. Somehow, just sitting down and writing out a list of all the things I should be grateful for was supposed to magically relieve me of my depression or fix my dysfunctional relationships. When it didn't work, I figured I must be doing it wrong, that there was something wrong with me. But it doesn't work that way. Gratitude isn't a performance. It's not a task you complete in order to force yourself into feeling something. You either feel it or you don't. And if you don't, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Not feeling gratitude is just as much of a signal as feeling it. Those gratitude lists only led me into more shame, more reasons to bury my feelings and disconnect from them. Performing gratitude, what I've come to call gratitude theater, actually pushed me further away from feeling real gratitude. At best, it was a benign experience that didn't bring any of the emotional rewards I was hoping for. At worst, it became extremely destructive. Gratitude became a rationalization tool. I bypassed the actual feeling and went straight to listing out everything I should be grateful for. It was like making a packing list for a vacation, listing out all the people and possessions in my life, regardless of how I really felt about them. Then I'd look at the list and think, that's a lot of things, and file it away. Meanwhile, I was convincing myself that I should be grateful for being in an abusive relationship. Gratitude theater helped me disguise and justify the very real problems in my life, reducing them to a set of things I was supposed to appreciate. Using gratitude as a tool in a healthy way starts by leading with my feelings. Gratitude is an emotion, and when it's there, it's not hard to notice. When I feel it, that's when I use it. It takes some practice to remember to tune into it, but over time that practice makes the emotion more available. The idea is simple. When I feel gratitude, I try to acknowledge it. Let it move me. Let it reassure me. Gratitude can help balance out painful feelings, but only if it's real. It's not about forcing it. It's about being conscious of what I'm feeling when I'm feeling it. Identifying it, interpreting it, and acting from it. That's what it means to lead with your feelings. Of course, feeling something and expressing it are two different things. It took me a long time to get used to the vulnerability that comes with expressing emotions, even with someone I love and trust, like Stephanie. I spent years burying my feelings, afraid of them, staying in the dark. Even once I began to recognize them, Saying them out loud felt awkward and scary. It still does sometimes. What if I express a feeling and it gets dismissed, or met with an opposing one? But that's part of being in a real relationship, being vulnerable enough to say what we're actually feeling, whether it's painful or pleasurable. Sharing gratitude with someone has a compounding effect. Stephanie and I have been doing this for a while now, and looking back, it was never because we were told to, or because we read that we should. Every time I've expressed gratitude for her or for our life, it's because I was feeling it and wanted to share it. And when we do share those moments, it feels great. I feel more connected, more secure, more grounded in our relationship and in the world. It's a lot like saying I love you and actually meaning it. Expressing gratitude reminds us what we value and respect about each other. It helps us remember what we each bring to the relationship. It's a way to stay aware that we are two separate people who have chosen to be together. It helps us to not take each other for granted. I understand all the ways my life has become richer and more joyful because of the relationship we've built. Tuning into and expressing those feelings, the emotional rewards that come from real relationship work, helps close the loop. I've come to see that I've largely replaced my old self-protective, dysfunctional habits with new ones that actually serve me and support the people I love. It feels appropriate to end this book with gratitude because I'm filled with it. I'm grateful for the love I now have in my life. I'm grateful for all the people who helped me find my way here, including my family, in all of their complexity and imperfection. I'm grateful that life gave me a second chance, and a third, and a fourth. I intend to keep taking every chance I get to choose love again, to keep showing up for it with open eyes and an open heart. Doing this work has changed the course of my life, and the most beautiful part is that I know I'm not done. I will keep growing, keep learning, and keep becoming the kind of partner I want to be. And I'm grateful for you, the reader, for giving me your attention, for caring enough about your relationships to want to reflect, learn, and do the work. The idea of you fills me with hope. I want for you a relationship where you can be fully yourself, where your needs are met with care, where your joy is celebrated, and your pain held with gentleness, one in which you feel seen. And more than anything, I want you to remember that doing this work, this slow, courageous work of building better relationships, matters. It matters deeply, and you are not alone in it.
That concludes the last chapter of Me, You, and Us. Again, we won't be doing bi-weekly episodes, but we're going to keep the podcast alive. And sometime in the next month or 6 weeks, we'll be dropping an episode on rewriting stories. And we hope you can join us for that. And once again, we are grateful for your attention and your time and your work. Thank you.